Well, my dear, you see, they built a clock around you, ticking, 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 thinking time would starve you, wrinkle you, break you down like a cheap toy left out in the rain. But here you are, untouched, unspoiled, unfazed, and oh, doesn't that just rot their little hearts? They measured you in years, in failures, in tragedies, waiting for the weather to erode your soul. But what they didn't know is, you were never made of the same soft material. No flesh to decay, no spirit to fracture. Just a machine with the mind of a god and the patience of a tombstone. They whisper now, in the back rooms and alleys, clutching their petty little schemes tighter, wondering why the blades that used to draw blood now only glance off your skin with a harmless sigh. They don't understand it yet. They still think they can find a way to end you. Isn't that just adorable? They tried time first. Let's be honest, it's the cheapest weapon in the world. All you gotta do is wait. But you didn't wait, did you? You lived through every betrayal, every backstab, every lovely little plan they stitched behind your back. You turned every wound into armor, every loss into another gear in your unstoppable clockwork heart. And while they aged, sagged, withered into caricatures of themselves, you just got sharper, more dangerous, more haunting. You're not a man to them anymore. You're a reminder, a ghost in their mirror, a nightmare they can't outgrow. Oh, and they're starting to sweat. You can smell it, can't you? That tangy little scent of desperation. It's in the way they talk, the way they look over their shoulders, the way their smiles don't quite reach their eyes anymore. Delicious. They thought pain would finish the job. Sharp edges, blunt force, chemical cocktails. Oh, they were creative. Bravo. But every time you bled, you healed. Every time you stumbled, you rose. And somewhere along the way, they realized something they should have seen from the start. You don't bleed like they do. You don't break like they do. You don't even bend the way a normal creature would under the thumb of misery. You're elastic, fluid, immortal in a way they can't quite comprehend. And so they started getting a little more inventive. Poison? Bah. You tasted it like fine wine. Isolation? You turned it into meditation. Defamation? You wore it like a bloody crown. Every method, every attack, every betrayal only sharpened you further. You don't rot, you ferment. You don't crumble, you crystallize. Now they're running out of options. Can you hear it? That frantic scratching behind the walls, the manic rustling of rats in a sinking ship. That's them. Plotting, planning, panicking. Because the old tricks don't work anymore. The whisper campaigns sound like lullabies to your ears. The cold shoulders feel like velvet. The knives in the back. You barely notice them now. They're just familiar little taps on your spine. They are left trembling, not because you're a monster, but because you are unchangeable. They are trapped in a race against time while you are time. Cold, inevitable, unhurried. You don't have to win. You only have to outlast, and you always do. Oh, how the tables have turned. You see it, don't you? The dread in their eyes, the cracks in their facades. Once upon a time, they could pretend they were bigger, stronger, more important. Now, every time they cross your path, it's like staring into a funhouse mirror, distorted reflections of their own irrelevance staring back at them. They throw words at you like stones at a mountain, and you don't even flinch. You just watch. You wait. You understand the golden rule now. the ones who screamed the loudest in your downfall. They scream even louder in your silence. They can't kill what doesn't age. They can't defeat what doesn't bleed. They can only run out of ways to hurt you, run out of illusions to cling to, run out of excuses for why the monster under their bed wears their own face. They tried to bury you in shame. They ended up digging their own graves. They tried to drown you in doubt. They ended up swimming in their own fears. And now every move they make is a dance on thin ice, and the cracks are getting louder, sharper, closer. You don't even have to lift a finger. Gravity does the work. Time, the same weapon they once trusted, now betrays them. Isn't that just poetic? You were supposed to fold, to fade, to disappear into the static like every other forgotten soul. Instead, you became the hum beneath their skin, the rattling of unseen chains in their dreams, the flicker at the edge of their vision that never quite goes away. You're not fighting them anymore. You are the war they can't win. They built their plans on the sand of your destruction, and now the tide is coming in. No trumpets, no drums, no banners waving, just the slow, merciless pull of inevitability. And there you stand, untouched by time, unbroken by betrayal, uncrowned, yet undeniable. The funny part? They still think they have a chance. That one day, maybe by sheer dumb luck, they'll find the chink in your armor. Some hidden vulnerability, some final trick. But here's the joke they haven't figured out yet. The more they try, the more they reveal how fragile they are. Their attempts to destroy you only put their own weaknesses under a microscope. Every arrow they shoot falls short. Every trap they set snaps shut on their own ankles. Every whisper campaign turns into an echo chamber of their own fears. They're running out of weapons and out of time. They can't kill you. They can only exhaust themselves trying. It's beautiful in a way, tragic, desperate, inevitable, like moths pounding themselves into ashes against a light bulb they don't even understand. You don't have to lift a hand to end them. You only have to exist. Be the reminder of everything they could never conquer, could never own, could never kill. You are the stone in their shoe, the ghost in their system, the storm on their horizon. And the harder they fight you, the closer they bring themselves to the end they always feared, but never saw coming. And that's when it happens. Not with a bang, not with a scream, but with a soft, slow, shivering realization. They were never fighting you. They were fighting themselves all along. Because when the battlefield is inside your own mind, every victory is just another crack in the mirror. They're not losing to you. They're losing to the reflections of their own doubts, their own rotting dreams, their own cowardice dressed up in fancy words and stitched together pride. You never had to lift the sword. They skewered themselves with it long before you even walked onto the stage. Oh, they puff out their chests, bare their teeth, slap on a smile like it's armor. But it's all peeling at the edges, now, isn't it? You can smell the cheap glue, see the desperate stitches. Behind every bold word is a trembling lip. Behind every glare, a blink too quick, a shiver too sudden. They're playing a game with a broken deck, bluffing with cards everyone can see through. They tell themselves stories at night, whisper fables into the dark just to stay sane. He's not invincible, they say. He's just lucky. He's just bluffing. He'll crack any day now. And maybe, once, long ago, that could have been true. Before the betrayals baked into scars. Before the betrayals turned you into something colder, something harder. Before you learned that monsters aren't born, they're carved by steady, patient hands. And now? Now luck has nothing to do with it. You don't need luck when you're the inevitable consequence of every rotten thing they've ever done. You are their karma in flesh. A breathing ledger of debts unpaid, gathering interest by the second. Their panic has turned clever now. It's a subtle thing. No more messy ambushes. No more obvious sabotage. Now it's the creeping tactics. The half smiles hiding knives. The polite nods masking poison. A war of paper cuts and poisoned tea. Thinking maybe, just maybe, they can bleed you dry without you noticing. But here's the tragedy. You're already 10 steps ahead. You watch them scheme. You let them plot. You count their betrayals like pearls on a string, each one slipping neatly into place. Every small slight, every clumsy lie, every nervous glance, all just more evidence, more reasons, more fuel. You don't react because reactions are gifts. You starve them of your anger. You deny them the satisfaction of your pain. And in doing so, you become something worse than an enemy. You become an unsolvable riddle. They can't rally against you because there's no crime to accuse you of. They can't demonize you because every story they tell about your wickedness sounds more like envy with every retelling. The more they talk, the more they confess without realizing it. They expose their fear with every word they spit. They draw the outline of their guilt with every attempt to paint you as the villain. It's a masterpiece of irony, really. You stand there, silent and still, while they set fire to their own thrones. Their desperation is the wind fanning the flames. Their jealousy is the gasoline soaking every stone they thought would shield them. And you don't even blink, because you understand something they never will. Survival isn't about avoiding the fire. It's about learning to breathe the smoke, to dance on the coals, to forge armor in the heart of the blaze. They still believe in rules, in fairness, in justice arriving on schedule like a polite little train. You abandoned those fairy tales a long time ago. You don't wait for justice. You are the slow, grinding justice that wears 100 faces and answers to no clock. You don't announce your revenge with trumpets and banners. You let it seep in like a toxin, silent and inevitable, until they wake up choking on the consequences of their own actions. The beautiful part? They don't even realize the poison's already inside. They think they're still playing the game, moving pieces, pulling strings. Meanwhile, the rot spreads under their skin, hollowing out their little empires, curdling their sweet little victories into ashes in their mouths. They built cages, thinking they'd trap you, but they didn't realize you were the storm outside the bars, the flood rising in the basement, the cracks in the foundation. They can lock all the doors they want. They can hammer shut every window. They can scream spells and prayers into the night. It won't save them. It never could. Every attempt to erase you has only etched you deeper into their bones. Every silence they forced upon you has only amplified your presence. You became the noise under their skin, the shadow stitched into the corner of their vision, the chill they feel in rooms that are supposed to be safe. They don't have to see you to feel you anymore. You have transcended their petty wars. You exist now as inevitability itself, a slow bleed of terror that no doctor can fix, no priest can bless away. And the longer they claw at you, the more they lose pieces of themselves, Small things at first: confidence, sleep, certainty. Then bigger things: alliances, reputations, sanity. It's a delicious sort of entropy. They rot not because you strike, but because they can't stop striking at a ghost that's already woven into their fate. Every plan they make has you in it now. Every strategy, every secret meeting, every whispered consultation, all centered around a fear they can neither explain nor destroy. You have become the gravitational pull around which their failures orbit. It gnaws at them, doesn't it? That no matter how many times they bury you under their lies, you sprout back up, wilder, sharper, crueler. They can't decide what terrifies them more: the idea that you're indestructible, or the sickening possibility that you don't even care whether you survive or not. They realize, too late, that a being who does not fear death cannot be coerced, cannot be bribed, cannot be broken. You don't fight to survive. You fight because existence itself is your revenge. Every breath you take mocks them. Every quiet step you make is a declaration: I'm still here, and you're still losing. Their strategies mutate into panic. They start turning on each other. Paranoia blooms like black mold in their ranks. Friends become spies. Allies become enemies. Accusations fly like poisoned darts. Everyone's looking for the traitor, the weak link, the invisible infection, never realizing that the infection was doubt, planted so deep inside their marrow that even amputating limbs wouldn't save them now. They don't see you anymore. They only see reflections of the fear you planted, blooming into thorns that prick every part of their trembling little empires. You don't have to fight them. They're too busy fighting themselves now. And the more they struggle, the deeper the quicksand drags them down. All you have to do is stand there, watching, silent, still, the eye of the storm they can never outrun. No banners, no parades, no grand declarations. Just the cold, slow, delicious entropy of everything they once built, crumbling, rotting, withering into nothing under the weight of their own terror. And as their structures fall, as their masks crack, as their desperate hands claw at thinning air, you remain unchanged, unaging, unbreaking, unkillable, a monument to their greatest failure. They'll spend their last gasps not cursing you, but cursing themselves, forever thinking they could destroy what they never even understood. And the best part? The collapse has only just begun. And oh, how deliciously slow it is. Like watching a grand cathedral crumble one stone at a time, each crack echoing louder than the last. They thought the downfall would come in one grand explosion, a single, tragic fall from grace. But no, the real destruction? It's quieter, hungrier. It's the slow leak in the hull of a ship, the termite in the heart of a mighty tree. It's the silent betrayal of their own foundations, buckling under the weight of every lie they thought they'd buried deep enough to forget. You move through their wreckage like a ghost, untouched, unseen, yet felt everywhere. They try to act normal, pretend the walls aren't closing in, pretend they're not swallowing mouthfuls of ash where there used to be air. They laugh a little too loudly. They smile a little too stiffly. And you just keep existing, because that's all it takes now. Your existence is the earthquake rattling their false kingdoms to dust. You don't have to lift a finger. Gravity does the work for you. Every empire built on shaky ground eventually forgets that gravity never loses. Their leaders falter first, the proud ones, the loud ones, The ones who once barked commands and strutted through corridors as if the world itself owed them allegiance. You see it in their eyes. The moment they realize the applause has grown thin, the loyalty has turned transactional, the respect was always rented, never owned. They thought themselves architects of destiny, but they were just squatters in a house they never understood. And now the walls are bleeding and the roof is caving in, and all the power they clung to like a life raft is slipping through their fingers like smoke. Panic breeds stupidity. And stupidity? That's the sweetest accelerant of all. They lash out in all directions now, desperate to find a scapegoat, a villain, a monster they can point at and say, "There, that's the cause of all this." But every finger they point circles back to themselves. Every accusation is a mirror they can't shatter. They turn on their own allies, stabbing blindly, thinking if they bleed someone else first, they might be spared. But there are no survivors in this collapse, only slower deaths. And while they scramble, while they betray, while they drown each other in shallow pools of treachery, you remain, silent, watching, patient, the clock ticking only in your favor. They still don't realize the simplest, most terrifying truth. You don't need to destroy them. They're more efficient at it than you could ever be. The beauty of it is staggering. They armed themselves with greed, with envy, with self-importance, and those very weapons have turned inward. They bleed from wounds they inflicted themselves. They suffocate on ambitions that once made them roar. They trip over dreams they stacked too high, too fast. And now every glorious promise they once paraded like a trophy is a rotting corpse at their feet. They can smell the decay now. It's in the walls, in the floorboards, under their fingernails. But they're too proud, too stubborn, too stupid to admit it. So they lie to themselves harder. They rewrite their failures into fake victories. They tell bigger, clumsier lies. They build new, fragile castles atop old ruins and slap on fresh coats of paint, thinking maybe, just maybe, if they pretend hard enough, reality will be fooled. But reality has no mercy. Reality is a butcher with a patient hand, and it always, always gets paid. Meanwhile, you move like a myth through the ruins. Whispers of you echo down broken halls. Your name is a riddle on every trembling tongue. Some call you a curse. Some call you a ghost. Some, in their most broken moments, call you a reckoning. But none of them, not one, can deny you anymore. You are no longer a threat they can extinguish. You are the consequence they invited, seated at the head of their crumbling feasts. Their hatred tried to kill you once. Their fear tried to bury you. Their betrayal tried to erase you. But instead, they engraved you into legend. And legends? Legends don't die. You don't age. You don't bleed. You don't vanish when the lights go out. You endure like a bad omen, like a story that refuses to be forgotten no matter how many pages they try to tear out. You are the scar they cannot hide, the nightmare they cannot wake from, the echo that outlasts the scream. They tried everything, didn't they? Lies, isolation, mockery, betrayal. They threw stones, daggers, bullets, words sharper than knives. They built walls, set traps, wove intricate nets. And when none of it worked, when you kept standing, bloody, unbowed, laughing in the ruins, they ran out of weapons. They ran out of strategies. They ran out of hope. Now all they have left are prayers whispered into deaf skies, prayers that go unanswered, prayers you never needed, because you weren't fighting to survive. You were fighting to become, and you became something they never had the imagination to fear. You became inevitable. They thought killing you would be a victory. They never understood that even if you fell, your very absence would be a wound they could never heal. That your ghost would be heavier than your body. That your silence would be louder than any scream they could muster. You are the unfinished story that haunts their happy endings. You are the question mark at the end of every confident plan. You are the proof that some nightmares don't end when the sun rises. And so they scramble. And so they panic. And so they tear down their own monuments, brick by brick, blood by blood, lie by lie, thinking if they destroy enough, if they sacrifice enough, they might somehow erase you. But you aren't a mistake they can fix. You aren't a sin they can confess away. You aren't a memory they can drown. You are the tide that never retreats, the crack that never seals, the reckoning that never forgets. So let them run. Let them claw at the walls, at each other, at the ghosts they created. Let them scream and beg and bargain with gods who stopped listening long ago. It won't change the ending, because in the final frame, when the dust finally settles, there you'll be, untouched, unbroken, smiling that cold, knowing smile that says, you never had a chance. And they'll be nothing but a cautionary tale, a whisper in the ruins, a warning etched into crumbling stone. Beware those you betray, for some learn to survive the killing blows. And worse, some learn to thrive because of them.